Let's pray. Thank you, Father, for the love you have for the military. And as we bow our heads, we think of all the fallen, the men and women who have given their lives for our country, people you love, people you died for, Jesus. Now we just commit them all and their families to you for your comfort, for your love, protection, your compassion. Help us come alongside them, just like honoring our fallen does every single day. Lord, bless the people who have come here who have hearts for others. Lord, bless them as they have blessed honoring our fallen. Now, thank you so much for the fact that we can come together tonight and recall the fact that a soldier led the way when he said of Jesus, truly, this is the Son of God. We pray in your name, Jesus. Amen. Amen.
Thank all of our Gold Star families, our families of our fallen, both from our military, and I say families of our fallen, and I don't say all our Gold Star families, because we do also serve families of fallen first responders as well. So all of our families of our fallen, thank you for being here tonight. The money that we raise is to serve families just like you, so thank you for being here. Can you give a round of applause to the Gold Star families? Thank you to all our veterans and first responders that are here today. Please raise your hands and clap for all of our veterans and our long veterans. Please welcome Chris Petnoff and Eric Campbell to the stage.
Michael after our paternal grandparents, and Ty because we believed he would be the force that would tie our blended family together. From the moment he was born, he was called Ty. And little did we know then that he would be the Ty that bound everyone with whom he ever connected. He was a fearless kid, swimming underwater with his dad as a toddler. We spent many weekends diving off the Channel Islands, where he also liked to jump into the water, doing flips from the side of the boats. Several years later, he applied that previous lesson learned when he decided to do flips into the pool, only this time from the roof of the house. That was when Mom wasn't home, so you know. He tried his hand at Little League once because that's what his older brothers had all done. He came away from that experience with the knowledge that he liked the teamwork and camaraderie, but what he was best at was looking good in the uniform. He started high school in a small private school that was fielding its first ever football team. Because the school was so small, they didn't have multiple teams for Frosh, JV, and varsity. There was only varsity. Again, his older brothers had all played high school football for years, and all three of them eventually became coaches. So Ty went out for the team. He was physically the smallest one, but he had the biggest heart. CIF rules prevented him from playing in a varsity game until he was 14. He gave his all in every practice, knowing he wouldn't see any playing time. The last game of the season came the Friday after his 14th birthday. Coach put him in, his teammates protected him, then carried him on their shoulders at the end of that victorious game. Because of that one play, he was able to forever after brag to his brothers that he lettered as a freshman, and then he had to wait till they were juniors. He got himself a motorcycle after high school. My sister was talking with him once about some crazy motorcyclists she'd seen speeding down the freeway, lying on their stomachs, arms outstretched like they were flying. His response to her, "Oh, Aunt Kathy, I do that all the time." When his bike was confiscated by the police because of his excessive speeding at the age of 20, his friends and his oldest brother convinced him he needed some structure and he should join the Army. He enlisted and turned 21 during basic training. Then after attending jump school, he was assigned to an infantry unit that had already been deployed to Iraq. He joined the Tomahawks, for what was to be the first of his 4 overseas tours and a lifetime of friendships. He found his calling as an infantryman and squad leader during those 4 tours to Iraq and Afghanistan. As his mom, I wore a yellow ribbon each time he was gone on a deployment. We talked about the dangers he faced, but he always told me that he loved what he was doing, and if the worst happens, to always remember that. He'd become Explosive Ordnance Disposal, EOD qualified, before his final and most difficult deployment to the Panjwai region of Afghanistan. That meant whenever his squad came upon an IED, the team would secure it and he would detonate it, and they did not have to wait for the hurt locker guys to come out. As a result, they earned a reputation for uncovering the most IEDs for the infantry squads. They were paid a visit by the Army Chief of Staff, General Ray Odierno, because he wanted to hear the story about how they were able to set those records. Ty had 2 favorite pictures from that deployment. One was where the very, very tall Odierno, his 6'5", bent over, listening intently to Ty tell the squad story, while Ty was standing at his full attention, 5'8". The other picture that he loved was of himself calmly walking away after yelling, "Fire in the hole," as a huge explosion went off behind him. Whenever he would come home on leave, our house would become loud, chaotic, and boisterous with all of his siblings, nieces, nephews, high school friends, aunts, uncles, and cousins coming to visit with this guy who tied everyone together. He even taught 84-year-old grandma how to do this. While stationed at Fort Benning in Georgia as a jump instructor, then as a jump master trainer, he discovered his love of free fall parachuting when he started jumping with the Silver Wings demonstration team. Occasionally, he would announce the Silver Wing demonstrations and discovered he relished being on stage, connecting with the spectators. His infectious smile, twinkling eyes, and ability to bring humor made the crowds warm to him.
So on that day that Mom called, I was actually out in practice field. It was the off season. It was March 13th, oddly enough, my other brother's birthday. Doing a light workout with our players. I answered that call and everything changed. For me, my whole world went dark. Everything that my mom described my brother is still not enough to really describe who he was as a human being. So I called my wife, Melissa, and we got our kids raced over, and we have a huge family, many of whom are here tonight. They're the ones hooting and hollering. We knew the word was going to spread pretty quick, so even by the time we had got to the house, they all pretty much knew. They'd already met with the Army chaplain, and they already found out that our casualty affairs officer from the Army would be coming the next day at noon. We sat around that evening and just told stories and talked. We did a lot of laughing and crying. And then eventually we asked, what does this casualty affairs officer do? And then why is he bringing someone from this nonprofit group? What would they do? How would they assist us? How would they help us? And we were being honest. We were just being very sincere in our questions. We had no idea. This is uncharted territory for our family, so we just kind of rolled with it. So, about 21 hours after we received that phone call, or I received a call from my mom, this big van wrapped in first responder pictures on the side of it rolled up in front of our house. These 2 people get out. Obviously, one was the officer in his Army uniform. The second was the lady who drove the van. Gets out, all her tats showing. exactly right. As they came into the house and introduced themselves, you could feel the goodness and the kindness in their hearts. Sergeant Miranda, where are you at? Just want to acknowledge. You can stand up real quick, please, too. It's really hard to talk about one without the other, and I know I was here, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, he was obviously instrumental, and I'm going to get into it a little bit here. I said that when I got that phone call, my world kind of went dark, and I think I speak for our family when I say that they felt the same way as well. Between Sergeant Miranda and Laura, they helped us see the light where all we were seeing was that darkness. They didn't do it through any magical statements or healing powers, but instead it was their heart. You could feel it. For that 21 hours, we were in a dark, dark place, and they helped us see the light. In that first meeting, we established a few decisions that needed to be made, especially by my mom, soon, and that we had other things we had to talk about, we had to work through as a family. During that first meeting, it was immediately clear why she was there. It was absolutely clear. All our questions that we didn't understand the night before, there was a sense of clarity. Over the course of the next 4 days, my parents, myself, my wife Melissa, Sergeant Miranda, and Laura, we met daily. Every single day we met, talking about everything from the Army investigation into Ty's accident, to trying to get Ty buried near our grandparents out of Riverside National, to which airport he would fly into. And as I look back, I really don't remember much about each meeting. What I do remember was being in a fog as we worked through that entire process. The entire process from Ty's accident to the funeral burial at Riverside National was exactly 2 weeks. That's why I refer to this as the 2 weeks of fog. But not a bad fog. It really wasn't a bad fog. It was the kind of fog that on the beach early in the morning where you just have a sense of calm that everything's going to be okay. My 3 brothers went through boot camp. I never did. I didn't go in the service. But I've been through a lot of preseason football training camps, and this was a little bit like that. In training camp, you get up in the morning, you have a lot of meetings, you have practice, you're basically trying to fight like hell to make it through the day, sometimes minute by minute, because you were so physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted, and then you go to sleep at night, only to wake up and do it all over again the next day. Next thing you know, it's been 2 or 3 weeks, and you're ready to move on, play your games, play your schedule. You've learned your offense, your defense, your special teams. You've grown together as a team and as friends. But that experience in training camp is still foggy because you were drained on a daily basis. But we came together as a team, and we came together as friends and worked through so many little details that we had no idea even existed. So during those 2 weeks of family meetings, here's just a few things that we discussed and we had to make plans for. We had to work with the Miami-Dade coroner, the Army investigations units, the Army Golden Knights, which he was a member of, who were basically Ty's other brothers, their public relations department, them serving as pallbearers, Ty's personal equipment, our family transportation, getting my sister down here from Northern California, getting my brother Greg out here from Alabama. As you know, he's a former Ranger and kind of an interesting cat. So getting him out here was Sergeant Miranda's job, so good job. And then getting my other brother out from Poland, who had lost his passport and was stuck in Poland, and so we had to work through the State Department, things like that. So, I mean, if you know Gavin, you're not surprised by that at all. Going to his unit memorial in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, printing the pictures of Ty, the big posters we had of Ty, and the programs for the memorial, working with the funeral home, working through the family memorial that we had, working through the March Air Force Base to host Ty's funeral and then eventually his reception. The number of volunteers that were organized, the caterers, the audio-visual, the videos that were put together. And then the angel flight. Going through Ontario Airport, Southwest Airlines, TSA, the USO. Sorry, I'm kind of flashbacks to that night where he came home. Then the honor procession, taking my brother from Ontario Airport to the funeral home and organizing not only the caravan with the Freedom Riders and all the incredible first responders who lined up on every single overpass on that drive. It was absolutely incredible. But this is just part of it. This isn't even everything. This is just what I can remember the last couple of days as I was putting this together. So much of this does not get done without honoring our fallen, and specifically Laura Herzog.
Thank you. Now I have the honor and privilege of introducing a Gold Star sister. Please help me welcome to the stage the sister of Sergeant Nicole G. Killed just 2 years ago in Kabul in the airport. Misty, will you please join me?
Angels on earth are people who you meet who it can be for a second, a minute, a day, a week, a month, a year, a lifetime. But they are people who you meet and you instantly know that they are your people, that they bring light to your life, that they bring a smile to your face, that they bring the energy that makes you want to do better and be a better person. And for me, that person was always my sister, was Sergeant Nicole G. And when we lost her, when my family lost her, I lost a best friend, I lost my sister, I lost my forever person, I lost an angel. And I also gained one more angel, which is Laura Herzog. She is an absolute angel on earth, to me, to my family, to dozens of you in the room. She is bright, and she brings with grace, honesty, her Lord. Her job is not easy, and she does it better than anyone on this planet, in my opinion. My sister and I had very humble beginnings. We grew up going through many storms together, and in the biggest storm of my life, which was losing my sister, there was Laura, this beacon of light in the heart of this gigantic storm that I never thought that I would be able to get through. And she walked up with a smile and some red shoes on, and she made us feel right at home. And in that moment, she became a part of the family, and she will always be a part of our family. And I'm gonna keep this just like Laura, short and sweet. And I want to thank her from the bottom of my heart, from the marrow in my bones, from the blood cells in my veins, from everything that I have. Laura, I want to thank you. I want to thank everyone for honoring our fallen, because she couldn't do this without her incredible team. She has such an immense amount of support and generosity that spreads like wildfire. And I appreciate it, my family appreciates it, and we love you.
Well, now it's time to introduce United States Marine, Major Jeff Ball. I had the honor and privilege of working, the solemn honor and privilege of working with Major Ball just 2 years ago when we lost our Marines in Kabul. Jeff, please join me.
Good evening, everyone. As already said, Major Jeff Ball, and a couple of years ago I had the distinct honor and privilege to serve as the company commander for Dylan Marola, Corinne McCooey, Hunter Lopez, Holly McCollum, David Espinoza, David Page, Jared Smits, Bert Sanchez, Maxon Sobiak. And the third team we lost in Kabul, nine came from my company. Obviously, there were 4 more, such as Nicole, Taylor Hoover, Johanny Rosario, and Staff Sergeant Ryan Kinos. Tonight, first I want to recognize Dylan's mother, Cheryl Rex, who's with us here tonight, along with Dylan's sister, Olivia, and Dylan's grandmother, Clorinda. Also, we have Kareem's father, Steve, and his brother, Stephen, as well.
And Sharon. And his sister, Sharon.
To you two families, and for the other families who aren't here, thank you so much for your support, putting your faith in me, the comfort that you have brought me, and not just myself, but the other Marines in our company. This is a company that has always been tight and it remains tight. We're very fortunate to be surrounded by the love of the Gold Star families that we have gotten to know under these circumstances. The other Gold Star family members here tonight, it's an honor to be in your presence and address you all. Before I came on active duty, I had the great fortune of working with a couple of national organizations such as the Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors and Elizabeth Dole's Foundation for Military Caregivers. Allegedly, I was volunteering and serving during all these years, but really what was happening is I was receiving one hell of an education. I was being mentored by all of these people for a moment that I didn't know was coming. A moment that I knew I needed to prepare for, but I didn't know quite what it was, nor could I imagine what it was going to be come August 26, 2021. For you family members, you all have given me and so many others so much that we'll just never be able to repay, and again, I'm honored to be in your presence here tonight. Laura, thank you again for letting me be here. Supposed to be here last year, but I was deployed again, and it was easier to leave this time knowing that you had to watch and that you were looking over a lot of these families and a lot of my Marines, so thank you for that, and I'm so happy to be here. I will never pass up an opportunity to talk about my Marines. I never will, and I won't in this opportunity right here. They were incredible young men. The difficulty of telling the story of Ghost Company is that it quickly is engulfed in the magnitude of the story of this country for the last 20 years. In the last 20 years, I believe has impacted every single person in this room. It's difficult to separate our actions away from the other companies, from our battalion, Fox, and weapons, and the heroic actions that those young men and women were undertaking. You can't talk about Ghost without talking about 1-8 at the East Gate. You can't talk about the Marines at HKIA without talking about the Army and the Air Force and the Navy doctors that were there. And a discussion of this evacuation, of course, is tied to a discourse on the larger decision to withdraw in our war in Afghanistan, our war in Iraq. And quite quickly, you start going all the way back to all of a sudden it's September 12, 2001, and this country woke up with its fist clenched. And I think that's part of the reason that when we came home, which was 2 years ago yesterday as a company, we were surrounded by so much. Because I think the country had a national moment and they kind of viewed it as to what happened through the Abbey Gate. That it seemed like 20 years was wrapped up in just those 8 days in Kabul, specifically August 26th. That you have this mix of heroism, this mix of triumph, this mix of tragedy and grief and pain and sorrow that comes with it. There's no way to unpack this all cleanly. But one thing that is very important is that in the darkness that surrounds that moment, this moment that I believe we're still going through, is that light does emerge. And that when you isolate in on some of these individual stories about what these young men and women did there at the gate and on the perimeter and who it is they tried to save, it's one of the most pure missions this country has ever taken. To save as many people as we could, as fast as we could. And the night before we flew into Kabul, I gathered my company and I told them, there is no greater honor for a Marine than to be the last on deck pulling another American to safety and bringing them home. And whoever reaches out their hand, we're going to grab that and we're going to bring them in.
Thank you, Marine.
Major Bob, I can't tell you what you have said, Misty, Garrett, Chris, every one of you that has called me and said something similar, your words are what keep me going for the next family. And it is the words that you share. I give all the credit and all the glory to God for everything I do every day. And now I'd like to introduce United States Marine First Sergeant Anthony Charette.
As mentioned, my name is First Sergeant Anthony Charette, and I have the pleasure of leading our I&I staff for Weapons Company 223 over in Seal Beach at the weapons station. So, Laura, thank you for the opportunity to stand here and take the opportunity to talk a little bit about what honoring our fallen and what you mean to me and how you've impacted me. So, for those in the room that are not so familiar, what a Casualty Assistance Calls Officer, or CACO, is they are responsible for providing support and assistance to families of military service members who have died while serving on active duty. Their primary mission is to ensure that families receive the necessary information, resources, and support during these extremely difficult times. This includes helping with funeral arrangements, providing information about survivor benefits, and assisting with any administrative processes related to the member's death. The mission of the CACO is to ease the burden of grieving families and ensure they receive the assistance they need and they absolutely truly deserve. I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt appreciation for the incredible work that your team is responsible for. Your dedication to making a positive impact on families facing the most devastating news is truly commendable. Through selfless efforts, you've created unbreakable bonds, touched countless lives, providing support, hope, and opportunities to those in need. Your unwavering commitment to your mission and beyond is an absolute inspiration to all. It's not just the services you provide or the resources you're able to offer. It's the profound difference you make in people's lives that truly matter. Your organization embodies the spirit of compassion, empathy, and social responsibility. I've deployed multiple times, fought in places like Fallujah, Ramadi, Baghdad, but when I received that call on 31 July 2020, and I was told I'd be providing CACO notification to a family that just lost their son, I was terrified. It was the most challenging mission that I've faced in my 20 years of service, and one that still challenges me today. Just days after my CACO assignment, I learned of honoring our fallen, and that's when I met Ms. Herzog. The assistance she was able to provide was instrumental, assisting with transportation, airport accommodations, travel to Dover, Delaware, from flight line access for planeside honors, organizing Patriot Riders, publishing rugs for procession, providing transportation for the family, and the list goes on. There's absolutely no way that I could say how much Laura and honoring our fallen provide and what they do. There's absolutely no way to cover all that support. With the help of honoring our fallen, we're able to provide tremendous support and turn tasks into accomplishment for that family. Laura and honoring our fallen are nothing short of astonishing. They've supported thousands of missions, not just California, not just in the United States, but literally all over the world. She did some island hopping with the CACO and next of kin in North Guam to lay a Marine to rest. a Marine just happened to be my friend. And most recently, even a veteran Marine from Orange County who was killed during an attack in Ukraine. The amount of work and effort that went in to getting that Marine from Ukraine to Poland to the United States, and then back to Orange County. I was on the phone with Laura for hours the night that she had traveled, and this lady doesn't sleep. She doesn't sleep, and it's just incredible to see how all that came in place and how she was able to provide for that family. Thank you for your tireless work, your passion, and your dedication to making the world a better place. Your organization's contributions are invaluable, and you have our deepest appreciation. With gratitude and admiration, thank you from the Marines of Weapons Company.
Okay, so now I'm going to introduce our current board president, Amy Stanton.
Thank you. So thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity to stand up here. Sorry, Corey, can you hear me? I can. The opportunity to really speak to you all tonight. And for those that don't know me, my name is Amy Stanton. I am the president of Honoring Our Fallen on the current board. I want to take this time to really speak to someone who is a very important part and supporter of Honoring Our Fallen. Her name is Victoria Vicky McKinney, mother to our founder, Laura Herzog. Everyone that knew Vicky knows that she loved deeply. She was always giving back to Honoring Our Fallen, whether it be sponsoring a hole at our annual golf tournament, bidding on the most expensive pair of shoes at our first fundraising event, Heels for Heroes, or making donations to the organization so we could continue our mission. She was a strong financial supporter for Honoring Our Fallen, of which we are extremely grateful. So, thank you. One of her last posts that she posted on Facebook had this quote: "At the end of life, what really matters is not what we bought, but what we built. Not what we got, but what we shared. Not our competence, but our character. And not our success, but our significance. Live a life that matters. Live a life of love." To honor Vicky and all that she has done to support Honoring Our Fallen, the Honoring Our Fallen Executive Board of Directors would like to introduce the Love Like Vicky Volunteer Recognition Award. Honor Our Fallen continues to run in large part by our volunteers. Our volunteers help to make a night like this possible and are an integral part of our fundraising events, which allows us to continue to serve and support the families of our fallen. The volunteers spend countless hours working with our board members to plan and execute our events. So this evening, we would like to present two individuals with the Love Like Vicky Volunteer Recognition Award: Kevin Hill and Carol Ortiz.
Since 2003, his group flights missions have recovered the remains of over 130 missing service members in both European and Pacific theaters of war and helped return them home to their families. I personally, with Honoring Our Fallen, representing Honoring Our Fallen, have had the solemn honor and privilege to honor and work with them and 6 of the families of Marine remains who they recovered and their team recovered in Tarawa. Jordan surprised me with some dirt right here. They just recovered some more, and this dirt right here came from Tarawa. And I can't wait, Sergeant Major, till you give me that call and we bring those men home. So thank you. Tonight we present you with the Golden Boot Award for your selfless service and sacrificing for all that you're doing to ensure that these service members are not forgotten and that they come home and receive the honors that they deserve. The last 5 years, Julie McGill has been supporting our family in so many ways. As a photographer, she has used her artistic gift to help us honor fallen heroes by taking precious angel wing photos for the mothers, spouses, doing glamour photo shoots, and even collecting thousands of dollars in gift cards for our families through her clients during the holidays. When everything shut down during COVID-19, she stepped up to create a drive-through Santa visit with hot cocoa, snow machines, and more. Julie, thank you for all that you do. Since 2002, they have gifted over $225,000 in grants to local organizations to create lasting resources and building civic investment and community involvement. We at Honoring Our Fallen have been honored to receive over $20,000 in grants from the Community Foundation of Orange over the last 6 years, and we appreciate all they do to support our programs and services, and how they honor veterans through their Field of Valor program and many other grants that they provide to veteran support organizations like ours. Thank you. And here tonight we have accepting the award Doug Willits, who's one of the board members. Thank you, Doug. Well, it was Friday the 19th of November, 2021, and I had been praying that we would be able to find a storefront office somewhere in the area for Honoring Our Fallen. I think my husband was kind of sick of me working and taking over the whole living room for my office. So I've been praying and praying and praying about that. I had just finished a lunch meeting with my old boss, Major General retired John Harrell, and we were going over Honoring Our Fallen and our 3-year plan. You know, he was the one I was keeping me on my 3-year plan. And I was motivated more than ever to find that storefront office in that business complex. So I figured I would go see a local realtor, right? And like, you know, some realtor's got to know somewhere where we can get an office. So, first thing that came to my mind were Jen and Jeff Tackney. I mean, I live right down the street from the park where they do the Jingle Jam and this, and I thought, well, they got to know somebody. So I parked my truck, I walked up to the storefront office, and as I approached the door, I couldn't believe my eyes. When I looked, and I saw a for rent sign in the door right next to their office. And they didn't even know I was coming to talk to them about that. And then there's a penny on the ground right next to it. I said, okay, here we go. So I looked up at God like I often do, and I said, I can't wait to see what you're going to do with this one. Well, I went inside and I spoke to them. Jen jumped on the phone and called Meg, the landlord, and asked her to rent the office space to us. Oh, and by the way, we'll pay half the rent for the first year. And so Christmas Eve 2021, we received the keys to our office. We're approaching our 2nd year in our beautiful office. Jen and Jeff continue to pay half of our rent 2 years later and support all of our programs and